You keep telling yourself, it's just a test. I just have to survive it. But what if you're wrong? What if this pain isn't testing your patience, but activating your purpose? What if this storm you're in was never sent to break you, but to wake you? Because maybe you're not being tested. Maybe you're being chosen. And what's happening in your life right now is so much bigger than you think. 1. When Allah sends the storm, it's not to drown you, it's to redirect you. You wanted it so badly. You made dua every night for it to work out. You held on, even when it was slipping away. You told yourself, maybe if I try harder, it'll stay. And then it broke. The relationship ended. The job didn't come. The dream shattered in front of you. So you sat there thinking, this must be a test from Allah. But what if it wasn't just a test? What if it was a rescue? Because if it didn't fall apart, you would have stayed stuck in something that was slowly destroying your soul. If they didn't leave, you would have kept chasing someone who was never meant to be part of your future. If the door didn't slam shut, you would have wasted years knocking on something that was never meant to open. Sometimes Allah doesn't wait for you to let go. He removes it himself, not to hurt you, but to protect you from what you can't see. You were trying to build a life around something temporary, but Allah was preparing something eternal. And that collapse you're crying over? That was not a failure. It was a divine redirection. It's not that Allah didn't hear your dua. He just loved you too much to let you settle for less than what He wrote. It's not punishment. It's a pause, a reset, a sacred reroute back to the version of you that trusts Him more than the outcome. Because sometimes the things that hurt the most are the things that save us. And what you thought was the end was actually the beginning of a story written with more wisdom than your heart could ever imagine. 2. The silence isn't a sign you're forgotten, it's a sign you're being spoken to. You've been praying, you've been crying, and still nothing. No sign, no answer, no change. Just silence. So you start wondering, has Allah forgotten me? Am I doing something wrong? Why does it feel like I'm talking to the air? But what if I told you this silence is not a rejection? What if this silence is actually a sacred conversation? Because when everyone else leaves, when the noise fades, when distractions disappear, and when you feel completely alone, that's when the soul becomes quiet enough to actually hear Allah. But most people panic in the silence. They rush to fill it. They try to escape it. They think silence means absence. But the truth is, silence is where Allah speaks loudest. Not with sound, but with presence, with signs, with subtle movements in your life that only your soul can feel. Look closely. You'll notice your heart has changed. You're thinking deeper. You're seeing your flaws more clearly. You're questioning things you used to ignore. That's not just overthinking. That's Allah speaking to you. In a language beyond words, He's shifting your focus, breaking attachments, teaching you how to feel faith. Instead of just talking about it, you thought silence meant He wasn't there. But the truth is, He was the only one who never left, while others talk over you. Allah listens to the words you can't even say, while others judge you. Allah understands the wounds you hide with a smile, while others ignore you. Allah is gently turning your pain into a personal invitation back to Him. So next time you feel that silence, don't rush to escape it. Sit with it. Feel it. Because maybe in that silence, Allah is not ignoring you. Maybe He's reintroducing Himself to you. Quietly, lovingly, completely. Not with a thunderstorm, but with a whisper that only broken hearts can hear. And maybe, just maybe, you've never been more seen than you are right now. 3. Your life is crumbling because your old self can't survive the next chapter. Everything is collapsing. Your plans, your peace, your people, the things you depended on, gone. The things you thought were forever, breaking. The version of you that used to feel in control is gone, and you keep telling yourself, this is just a test. But what if it's not? What if your life isn't falling apart, but falling into place? What if Allah is not punishing you, but pulling you out of a life that was too small for the soul He placed inside you? You see, we all build identities. We become the person others expect. We play roles. We attach ourselves to jobs, titles, relationships, and dreams. But then something shifts, and it all starts to crumble. Not because you're failing, but because you're outgrowing the version of yourself. That was never meant to last. That version of you was built for survival, not for purpose. And when Allah decides, it's time for you to step into who you're truly meant to be, He dismantles everything that doesn't fit anymore. That's why you feel lost. That's why the things that used to comfort you now feel hollow. That's why the people around you are changing. That's why your heart is heavy, even though your life looks fine. Because the old you, the version that was people-pleasing, doubting, hesitating, settling, can't survive the next chapter. And you feel the breaking. You feel the confusion. You feel like you're drowning in something you can't even name. But deep down, your soul knows. It's not death, it's rebirth. Allah is stripping away the layers. The lies, the fears, the identities you clung to, not to hurt you, but to unveil the real you underneath it all. You're not falling apart. You're shedding skin. You're being peeled, not punished. And the pieces that are crumbling? They were never meant to make it into your next phase. The more you fight it, the more it hurts. But the moment you surrender and say, Ya Allah, I trust what you're doing even if I don't understand it, is the moment you'll feel something powerful shift. Because this isn't the end of your story. This is the part where the main character gets rebuilt. So yes, it hurts. Yes, you're tired. Yes, you're confused. But don't let that fool you. You're not being destroyed. You're being prepared for a chapter so powerful. The old you wouldn't have survived it. 4. Your delays aren't just a test of time. They're a calibration of destiny. You've been waiting for the answer, waiting for the healing, waiting for the door to open, waiting for something, anything, to change. And in the silence, your heart whispers, why is it taking so long? You try to be patient. You keep praying. You smile in front of people. But inside you're tired. You feel stuck, like life hit the pause button and left you in a waiting room without a clock. You start to wonder, is Allah testing my patience? Did I miss a sign? Am I being ignored? But what if I told you? You're not being delayed, you're being calibrated. Because the gift you're asking for has weight, it has responsibility, it has power. And Allah is not just preparing the blessing. He's preparing you. If He gave it to you right now, you might not recognize it. You might misuse it. You might even lose it. Sometimes the delay is what builds the version of you. Who can carry what's coming? A stronger you, a wiser you, a more spiritually grounded you. You ask for love. But have you healed from the wounds of your past? You ask for success. But have you learned how to stay humble? You ask for purpose dash. But have you detached from the distractions that are blocking your soul? Because Allah's timing isn't based on your urgency. It's based on your readiness. And readiness isn't just what you say. It's who you've become when no one's watching. Think of a seed underground. It looks still. It looks buried. But what's actually happening? Roots are growing. Foundations are strengthening. It's becoming invisible first, so it can rise unshakable later. That's what Allah is doing with you. He's letting your roots grow in your patience, in your trust, in your private worship, in your private pain. Right now you feel invisible, but you are being prepared, not for just anything, but for something sacred. You're not behind. You're being built in silence. You're not forgotten. You're being fine-tuned for greatness. Sometimes Allah delays the blessing because He's upgrading it. Sometimes He delays it because you're not just meant to receive, you're meant to lead. And leaders are not rushed. They are tested, sharpened, humbled, and then elevated when it's time. Allah is not done with you. He's not ignoring you. He's not making you wait to break you. He's making you wait so you don't break when it comes. Every delay is a door. Every pause is a plan. Every not yet is preparing you for a far better than you expected. So don't waste this moment. Don't waste this waiting room by staring at the clock. Close your eyes. Open your heart. Let Allah finish what He started, because what's coming needs the version of you that only this delay could create. 5. That weakness you feel. It's the birthplace of a strength you've never met. You feel like something's breaking inside, and the worst part is, you don't even know why. Some days it's sadness. Other days, it's nothing, just emptiness. A kind of silent heaviness that sits on your chest. From the moment you wake up, you look fine on the outside, but inside, you're barely holding on. You go through your day like a shadow of yourself, and when you finally get alone, that's when the pain becomes loud. And still, you keep saying, I'm just weak right now. I need to be stronger. But maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe it's not about being strong. Maybe it's about becoming real. Because strength doesn't always look like smiles. It doesn't always look like confidence. Sometimes strength looks like crying out to Allah at 3 a.m. with a voice so broken, even you don't recognize it. Sometimes strength looks like dragging yourself to pray, even when your limbs feel heavy and your heart feels numb. Sometimes it's simply not giving up, even if your progress is slow, even if no one sees you trying, even if your only achievement today was breathing through the pain. That's not weakness. That's the soul stretching. That's Allah taking you to the rawest, realest version of you, the one who finally says, Ya Allah, I can't do this without you anymore. And that moment is when transformation begins, because you've spent so much of your life trying to be put together, trying to be okay for everyone else, trying to seem like you're in control. But Allah already knew. That version of you was too heavy to carry forward, so He brought you here, to the edge of yourself, not to break you, but to show you what's beneath all the masks. Because beneath the tiredness is tenderness. Beneath the confusion is surrender. Beneath the numbness is a heart that wants to come home to its Creator. That's not weakness, that's awakening. And every single tear you've cried in secret, it was not wasted. Allah counted them. He knew the exact moment your heart started to shake, and He's been closer to you in those weak moments than He ever was during your strongest ones. Because when you feel broken, you stop pretending. You stop performing. You stop trying to earn love through perfection, and instead, you just fall into His mercy, into His healing, into the kind of strength that this world could never give you. This isn't a failure. This is a spiritual upgrade, the kind that's built in silence, in loneliness, in those moments when you're curled up thinking no one understands what you're going through. But Allah does. He always has. And He's using this weakness to burn away everything that was false, to carve out space in your soul for something real to grow, something unshakable, something eternal. So don't hate your weakness. Hold it like a seed, because one day you'll look back at this season and say, that was the moment Allah rebuilt me from the ground up. And you'll realize this pain didn't break you, it birthed you. 6. Strange things keep happening because your soul is shifting dimensions. Lately, everything feels strange. You're present, but you're drifting. You're alive, but not fully here. You're surrounded by people, but you feel like you're watching it all from far away. And you can't explain it to anyone, because even you don't have the words for it. You try to keep living like before, but something's off. You feel pulled. You feel watched. You feel whispered to, not by people, but by something higher. You're not being paranoid. You're not unstable. You're not broken. You're awakening. Your soul is shifting into a new dimension. And the life you used to live, it can't follow you there. That's why everything feels uncomfortable. That's why people are leaving. That's why you suddenly feel like a stranger in your own life. Allah is upgrading your soul, rewiring your energy, and preparing you for a path that requires isolation before elevation. Look closer. Notice how your eyes no longer tolerate sin the way they used to, how your ears crave silence instead of noise, how your heart aches for depth, not distraction. This isn't just a phase. This is a soul migration, and not everyone around you is allowed to come with you. You're not being abandoned. You're being protected, because to rise to a new level, you must be emptied at this one. That's why you feel lost. That's why your attachments are fading. That's why the dunya feels thinner, lighter, fake. You keep seeing numbers, hearing names, having dreams that feel like warnings, feeling emotions that don't make sense. This is not coincidence. This is synchronization. Allah is aligning your reality with the version of you that was always waiting. Beneath the noise, beneath the trauma, beneath the layers you were forced to wear. And it had to start with confusion, because the old you would have never surrendered without something shaking the ground first. The people who walk away during this shift, let them go. The plans that fall apart, let them crumble, because you're not losing, you're ascending. You're not meant to stay attached to a world. That trains you to chase validation, to fear solitude, to numb your soul. You're not losing your mind. You're remembering your soul. The pain you feel isn't punishment. It's purification. It's everything false being scraped off, so that your soul can finally breathe. And the truth is, you've outgrown the illusions, the lies, the noise, the fake smiles, the shallow success. You crave truth now. You crave peace that doesn't fade. You crave a connection. That doesn't depend on people. That's not weakness. That's activation. You're being spiritually upgraded, and that means your old life will stop fitting because it was stitched for a version of you that no longer exists. So don't run from the confusion. Sit with it. Don't numb the silence. Listen to it. Don't chase after what's fading. Let it go, because what's coming is built in a dimension where your soul feels safe, your spirit feels heard, and Allah feels near. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're in a sacred transition, one where Allah removes the world from your hands so He can place something eternal in your heart. Keep going. You're not falling off track. You're finally leaving the version of you that was never meant to survive the light you're about to walk into. 7. You're not just being tested, you're being called. You've been told again and again, this is just a test. And you believed it. You thought all the pain, the confusion, the setbacks were just to see if you'd be patient. But deep inside, something doesn't sit right. Because this pain feels too personal. This heaviness feels like it's aimed at something in you, something deeper, something sacred, and you're right. This isn't just a test. This is a calling, a divine summons, a spiritual alarm clock, a disruption in your life, not to break you, but to wake you up to who you're meant to become. You weren't just created to survive tests. You were created to lead, to shine, to transform. But here's the truth. The higher your calling, the heavier your preparation. Allah doesn't call someone without first crushing everything in them. That can't carry the weight of the mission. That's why it hurts so deeply. That's why you feel like everything in your life is being stripped away. That's why you feel isolated, unseen, misunderstood. Because He's not testing you just to see if you'll last. He's preparing you to be someone others can't ignore, someone who walks with spiritual fire, someone who's been through the dark and now becomes a light for others, someone who's been rejected by the world so they could be selected by the divine. Think about it. How many times have you been pulled away from what looked perfect on the outside? How many people have left? Doors closed, plans collapsed. And each time, something inside you grew sharper, quieter, more aware of Allah. That's not a coincidence. That's not just pain. That's the process of being called. Allah removes the noise so you can finally hear His voice. He removes the people so you can stop seeking validation and return to your purpose. He removes the comfort because your growth doesn't live there. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to be set apart. And that requires isolation, discomfort, deep inner work. That's why things keep shifting. That's why you can't enjoy what others chase. That's why your heart longs for something this world can't satisfy. Because your soul is not ordinary. It was designed with a mission. And everything you're going through right now, the loss, the silence, the delays, they're not random. They're part of your training. You don't train a warrior with comfort. You train them with battle, with pressure, with pain. Allah is building endurance in you, spiritual muscle, emotional depth, clarity that cuts through confusion. He's teaching you how to walk alone, so when He finally sends what's yours, you don't lose yourself in it. He's making you unshakable, so when others are falling apart, you become the one who stands firm in faith. So when others lose hope, you remind them who controls the outcomes. So when others are distracted by the world, you become a mirror reflecting the Akhirah. Because your calling isn't just about you, it's about those who will heal through you. Those who will hear your story and finally believe again. Those who will come back to Allah. Because you chose not to give up. You're not just being tested, you're being trusted. Allah knows you'll fall, He knows you'll cry, He knows you'll question, but He also knows you'll rise. And when you do, your rise won't be for show, it will be for service. It will be for something eternal. So don't shrink just because life feels heavy. Don't retreat just because the pain is sharp. You're being sculpted for something sacred. And one day, when you're walking in your purpose, you'll look back and whisper, "Now I understand why Allah had to break me before He could use me." 8. If you still feel the pain, it means the mission isn't over. You've buried it. You've distracted yourself. You've changed your habits, changed your surroundings, even changed who you talk to. But somehow, the feeling stays. That heaviness in your chest. That random memory that sneaks in when you least expect it. That person you thought you were done thinking about. That situation you thought you forgave. And it makes you feel like you're going backward. Like maybe you're not as healed as you thought. Like maybe Allah hasn't answered your dua. But listen closely. Pain doesn't visit you for no reason. And it definitely doesn't stay without a purpose. That ache you keep trying to escape, it might be the very proof that your soul is still in motion. You think you've failed, but Allah sees that you're still growing. You think you're broken, but maybe He's still reshaping you. You think you're stuck, but maybe your spirit is still traveling towards something you don't even understand yet. There's a difference between pain that punishes and pain that prepares. This pain, the one that keeps waking you up at night, that keeps tightening your chest when you think you've moved on. That's not punishment. That's a calling from deep inside your soul, saying, "You're not done yet." Maybe there's something you haven't said. Maybe there's someone you need to forgive. Or maybe that pain is still here, because it's supposed to become your wisdom. Allah doesn't waste anything. Not your heartbreak, not your silence, not even your confusion. If the pain hasn't left, then Allah is still using it to carve something eternal in you. Sometimes the very thing you want to forget is the thing that's shaping the next version of you. You want it gone, but maybe it's the key to your next level of strength. You want it erased, but maybe it's the story someone else will need to hear one day. A story only you can tell, because only you felt it that deeply. Maybe you were chosen not to avoid the pain, but to transform it into a purpose so powerful that it wakes others up too. That thing that broke you. Maybe it also opened a part of your heart that was once closed to compassion, to empathy, to softness, to truth. Because real strength doesn't come from pretending nothing hurts. It comes from walking through fire and still choosing love, still choosing prayer, still choosing Allah. And every time that pain returns, instead of asking, "Why is it still here?" ask, "What is it still trying to teach me?" Because maybe your pain is not a curse. It's a compass. Maybe the ache is a map, pointing you to the pieces of yourself that are still waiting to be healed, still waiting to be heard, still waiting to be seen by you. Sometimes Allah leaves just enough pain inside you to keep you humble, to keep you soft, to keep you near Him. And maybe that ache is a mercy, because without it, you might forget how far you've come. You might forget how much you've survived. You might forget that it's Him who's been carrying you all along. This isn't a failure. It's a reminder that you're still in process, still chosen, still being purified, still being written, still being prepared for something only the broken-hearted can be trusted with. And one day, the same pain that's breaking you right now will become the reason someone else decides not to give up. One day you'll look back and thank Allah for the tears you cried alone, because they watered the garden you're finally starting to grow into. So if you still feel the pain, don't hide from it. Don't rush to numb it. Don't curse it. Hold it. Honor it. Speak to Allah through it. Because if the pain is still present, then your mission, your healing, your elevation isn't over yet. And Allah, He's not done with you. So stop saying, it's just a test. Because it's not. It's a divine awakening. It's a spiritual reassignment. It's the start of your real story. You were never meant to just pass tests. You were meant to rise through them and become a sign for others. You're not here to survive life. You're here to be transformed by it. And maybe, just maybe, that's why Allah chose you. Stop scrolling. Listen carefully, because this exhaustion you're carrying, it's not ordinary. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of motivation. It's a spiritual sign. And if you're feeling it, you may be one of the chosen ones Allah is preparing through silence, through isolation, and yes, through a deep, crushing physical fatigue that no one else sees. 1. You're always tired, but the doctors say you're fine. You go to sleep, but it doesn't help. You wake up, still tired. Your body feels like it's been carrying something invisible all night. You've tried drinking more water. You've tried changing your diet. You've even gone to the doctor. But every test says you're fine. So why do you feel like this? Because this isn't just physical. It's spiritual. Your soul is tired. And that's a sign that something deeper is happening inside you. It's like Allah is pressing pause on your outer life, so He can do surgery on your inner life. The exhaustion you're feeling isn't a weakness. It's a signal. It's your soul trying to speak, trying to tell you that the way you used to live can't continue anymore. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not falling behind. You're being purified. Allah is burning away what you don't need. The false responsibilities, the noise, the expectations of people. He's unplugging you from the dunya, so you can reconnect with something greater, Him. This fatigue is forcing you to slow down, because if you kept running like before, you'd miss what Allah is trying to show you. He's not punishing you. He's pulling you away from the world so you can finally hear what your heart has been whispering for years. I need peace. I need purpose. I need Allah. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of your transformation. You're not just tired. You're being reborn from the inside out. 2. You're in a season of isolation. Lately, it feels like people are drifting away. Your phone is quieter. The group chats don't feel the same. You walk into a room full of people, but somehow you still feel alone. You wonder if something's wrong with you. You replay old conversations, thinking maybe you pushed people away. Or maybe you're just hard to love. But here's the truth that's hard to accept. Allah has pulled you into isolation on purpose. Not to hurt you, but to heal you, to separate you from noise, so you can finally hear your own soul. When you're around people too much, you start absorbing their energy, their fears, their distractions. You start carrying weights that were never yours. And after a while, your heart becomes so loud with dunya, you can't hear the whisper of Allah anymore. So He pulls you out, slowly, gently. But it feels harsh, because you don't understand it yet. You think you're being abandoned, but in reality, you're being chosen. Chosen for quiet transformation. Chosen for private rebuilding. Allah is putting you in a season of isolation, so He can give you what people could never offer: real strength, real clarity, real purpose. Yes, it hurts. It's lonely. But in this loneliness, you'll find a new kind of peace. One that doesn't depend on approval, attention, or company. In this quiet season, you'll start noticing things you never noticed before. You'll realize who truly matters, and who was only loud, not loyal. You'll remember how to speak to Allah again, not through formal words, but through broken du'as, whispered in the dark. Don't rush this season. Don't fight it, because when Allah isolates you, it means He's preparing to elevate you. And before He lets the world hear your name, He'll make sure you know who you are without needing applause. This isn't loneliness, it's preparation. And those who survive the silence are the ones who return with voices strong enough to move mountains. 3. Your body feels weak, but your heart feels deeper. Your body feels heavy. Simple tasks feel like climbing a mountain. You get tired just walking across the room. And sometimes even breathing feels like a chore. But here's what's strange. While your body feels like it's fading, your heart feels more alive than it ever has. You're not as physically strong as you used to be, but somehow your connection to Allah is stronger. Your words have more feeling. Your tears come more easily. And in sujood, you find a peace that no physical energy could ever give. This weakness you're feeling, it's not a curse. It's a divine shift. Allah is allowing your body to slow down, so your soul can rise. He's taking your attention away from muscles and movement and turning it inward, so you can finally explore the parts of you that were buried under schedules, distractions, and noise. You're not falling apart. You're being realigned, because your heart is remembering why it was created, not to chase status, not to compete with others, but to know Allah, to seek Him, to return to Him in every breath, especially when your strength is gone. When your body is weak, you begin to taste the beauty of full reliance. Every prayer feels more raw. Every Ya Allah feels more sincere, because you're no longer pretending to be strong. And that's where true strength is born, in surrender. People may not understand. They may say you're overthinking or exaggerating or just tired. But what they don't see is the silent battlefield inside you, where your body is retreating so your ruh, soul, can step forward. Stronger, wiser, closer to Allah. This is not weakness. This is awakening. So if your body feels like it's fading, but your heart feels deeper, more grateful, more sensitive to truth, then you are not being broken. You're being rebuilt from the inside out, And the version of you that comes out of this will carry a light no one can take away. 4. You can't do what you used to do anymore. You used to be able to handle so much. Busy days, loud people, endless tasks. You could stay up late, bounce back from stress, juggle everything at once. But now, you can't. And you don't understand why. Even small things feel heavy now. You start something, then lose energy halfway. You try to force motivation, but your heart just isn't in it anymore. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You've simply outgrown the version of life that once fit you. What once gave you joy now feels empty. What once felt exciting now feels exhausting. You don't laugh the same. You don't chase the same things. Because deep inside, something in you is shifting. This isn't failure. This is spiritual evolution. When Allah begins to change the direction of your life, He first removes your ability to stay comfortable in old places. He takes the sweetness out of certain things to show you that they're no longer meant for you. It's like wearing shoes that used to fit, but now they're tight, painful, and uncomfortable. Not because something is wrong, but because you've grown. You're not supposed to be who you were last year, or even last month. Allah is updating your soul. And in that process, the you that once loved distraction, chaos, noise, and people-pleasing is slowly disappearing. Now you crave peace, you crave meaning, you crave time alone with your thoughts and with Allah. But this shift confuses you because you remember the old you, the strong you, the active you, the happy you. What you don't realize is Allah isn't taking your energy away. He's redirecting it from outer success to inner depth, from public life to private growth, from doing more to being more. You're being called into a slower, more sacred pace, a rhythm that lets your soul breathe, a life that's built around your values, not other people's expectations. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it feels like loss. But sometimes Allah has to disconnect you from who you were to prepare you for who you're becoming. This isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's divine protection from going back to a life that looked good on the outside, but starved you on the inside. You're not behind. You're just becoming someone new, someone that old routines and old habits no longer recognize. Let go. You're not losing yourself. You're finally meeting the real you. 5. You feel a quiet urgency, but no clarity. Yet, there's something inside you that won't let you rest. You can't explain it, but it's there. This quiet pressure, this invisible tension. Like something big is about to happen, but you don't know what. You don't know when, and you don't know why you feel this way. But the feeling won't leave you alone. It's like your soul is standing at a door that hasn't opened yet. You can't see what's behind it, but you know, deep down, that what's coming will change everything. This is not anxiety. It's not fear. It's something deeper, something sacred. It's divine urgency. Allah is awakening something in you. A part of you that was asleep, a calling that's been waiting in silence. And now it's starting to whisper. You feel the pull, but you don't feel the plan. And that's where the confusion creeps in. You ask, Ya Allah, what am I supposed to do with this feeling? I want to move forward, but I don't know where to go. I want to start something, but I don't know what it is yet. That tension you feel, It's part of the process. Because when Allah prepares you for a major shift, He doesn't give you the full map. He gives you a feeling, a whisper, a fire in your chest that won't let you settle anymore. That fire isn't random. It's the soul's response to divine instruction. But Allah makes you wait. Why? Because He's teaching you how to walk by trust, not by sight. He's stretching your patience. He's forcing you to develop spiritual muscles that only grow in uncertainty. That quiet urgency is sacred. It's the sign that you're stepping into a new spiritual chapter. But the ink hasn't dried yet. And sometimes Allah delays clarity, so that you don't rely on your own logic, but instead fall back into His guidance, every single step. So if you're feeling that deep urge to move, to shift, to change, but nothing is clear yet, don't panic. You're not broken. You're not being left behind. You're in the waiting room of divine timing. And the longer you sit with this fire inside you, the more you'll realize you were never waiting for clarity. You were waiting for alignment. And when it comes, when Allah finally gives you that green light, everything will make sense. All the tension, all the silence, all the days of not knowing, they were never meant to frustrate you. They were meant to transform you, so that when the path appears, you step into it, not just with action, but with iman, with depth, and with a heart fully surrendered to the one who wrote your story before you were even born. 6. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. You've probably asked yourself this in silence. Why is this happening to me? Why the delays? Why the setbacks? Why the pain that doesn't seem to have a purpose? And somewhere deep down, maybe you've wondered if this is punishment. Maybe you've whispered, is Allah upset with me? Did I do something wrong? But listen carefully. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. What feels like rejection is actually protection. What feels like loss is actually alignment. Allah is not pushing you away. He's moving things around in your life to place you exactly where you need to be. You just can't see the whole board yet. Imagine a chess piece. Sometimes it gets pulled back, just before it makes the move that wins the entire game. That's you. Allah is the master strategist, the one who sees 10 steps ahead. And right now, what looks like chaos to you, missed opportunities, closed doors, relationships ending, plans falling apart, is actually precision. Every closed door was a wall placed between you and something that would have destroyed your spirit. Every delay was Allah saying, not yet, you're not ready, and neither is what I have for you. Every disappointment was really redirection, turning your face away from what was good toward what is divinely better. Sometimes we mistake positioning for punishment because we only measure progress by what we can see. But Allah moves in the unseen. You may think you're stuck, but in reality, Allah has placed you in a sacred waiting zone, the space between who you were and who He's preparing you to become. And here's what's most powerful. During this time, you're being shaped silently. Your patience is being deepened. Your faith is being trained. Your heart is being purified of attachments. You are being refined into someone who can handle what's coming, with grace, gratitude, and strength. So no, this is not punishment. Allah is too merciful for that. This is preparation. This is positioning. Because where He's taking you You can't afford to carry your old mindset, your old wounds, your old distractions. You may feel like you're in the background now, forgotten, unseen, passed over. But trust this, when Allah positions someone, He hides them first. He removes the noise, He clears the path, He rebuilds the heart in silence. So that when the world finally sees you, they meet a version of you that Allah Himself sculpted. Not fame, not people, not ego, but divine hands. So breathe. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Not because of punishment, but because you're being placed for something greater than you ever imagined. 7. You cry without a clear reason. Lately, you cry, but you don't know why. No one said anything hurtful. Nothing dramatic happened that day. You weren't even thinking about anything sad. But out of nowhere, the tears come. While lying in bed, while driving alone, while sitting in silence. It's not weakness. It's not overthinking. It's not being too emotional. This is your soul releasing what words can't explain. Sometimes your heart carries too much. Things you never spoke about. Pain you ignored. Disappointments you pretended didn't affect you. Old wounds you told yourself you were over. But deep inside, your Ruh remembers. And when Allah begins to purify you, when He starts removing those silent poisons, the tears come, not to break you, but to heal you. This kind of crying isn't always about sadness. Sometimes it's relief. Sometimes it's a sign that something trapped inside you is finally being let go. Maybe you're grieving a version of yourself you no longer are. Maybe you're releasing pain you didn't even realize you still carried. Or maybe your soul just misses Allah. The dunya has a way of numbing us, keeping us distracted, fast, loud, overstimulated, until Allah slows everything down, so you can feel again. Tears are your soul's way of saying, I'm alive, I'm awake, I'm ready to feel this fully so I can finally heal. And here's what most people don't know. Tears are a mercy. They are not a flaw. They are not a sign of failure. The Prophet Muhammad said, crying out of fear of Allah, even as much as the head of a fly, can save you from the fire. That means your quiet tears in the dark, the ones no one sees, may be the most valuable things you've ever done. Because those tears are dewars in liquid form. They're signs that your heart is softening, and a soft heart is one that's closest to Allah. So if you find yourself crying without a clear reason, don't fight it, don't shame it, and never say, I'm too weak. That moment may be the strongest, most sacred moment of your day. Sometimes your body cries when your soul finally feels safe enough to release what it was never meant to carry forever. So let it flow. Let Allah wash away what your heart has carried alone for too long. And know this, those tears are not going unnoticed. They are witnessed. They are counted. They are honored by the one who created you with a heart that was meant to feel deeply, not to be numb, but to transform. 8. You feel invisible, but you're being seen by the divine. You feel like no one sees you anymore. Your efforts go unnoticed. Your kindness goes unreturned. You show up for others, but when you need someone, the silence is louder than words. You walk into rooms and feel like you don't matter. You speak and no one really hears you. It's like you're physically present, but emotionally invisible, and it hurts. because you're not asking for attention. You're just longing for someone to truly see you. Not the version you present to the world, but the real you. The tired you. The loyal you. The struggling, aching, faithful you. And yet, you remain in the shadows. You help others shine, but no one shines the light back on you. Let me tell you something that might change your whole perspective. You are not invisible. You are being hidden by Allah. There's a difference. When Allah wants to protect someone, He hides them from people who would use them, from relationships that would drain them, from opportunities that would distract them, from fame that would corrupt them. He covers them in divine shade, not because they're not worthy of the spotlight, but because the spotlight is not worthy of them. You feel invisible to the world, but you are seen in the unseen realm. Every step you take in silence, Allah sees it. Every act of patience you offer without being thanked, He records it. Every time you bite your tongue to protect someone's heart, He witnesses it. You are not unseen, you are being guarded. Because some diamonds don't belong in open markets. They belong in vaults, protected, preserved, priceless. And sometimes, when Allah hides you, it's not because you're not ready for the world. It's because the world is not ready for the weight of your presence. So He builds you in private. He strengthens your character. He deepens your connection with Him. He teaches you how to rely only on His approval, so that when He finally reveals you, you won't be shaken by criticism nor addicted to praise. Being seen by people feels good, but being seen by Allah, that is pure peace. Because when Allah sees you, He honors you in ways no human being ever could. He answers your silent du'as. He blesses you with clarity in confusion. He gives you a calm heart, even in chaos. So if you feel invisible right now, just remember, the angels know your name. The heavens hear your prayers. And your name is written in a place far more sacred than any spotlight. In the book of the One who created you. And when the time is right, when you've grown in silence, when you've healed in solitude, when you've built your foundation with sincerity, Allah will lift the curtain, and when He does, the world will finally meet the version of you that was fashioned by divine hands in divine timing for a divine purpose. Until then, rest in the safety of being seen by the only one who truly matters. So if you're tired beyond reason, if you feel like the whole world is moving and you're stuck in a fog, just know, you are not behind. You are being rebuilt. And when Allah finishes what He's doing in the dark, you'll understand why He made you rest while others were running. You're not being left out. You're being reserved for something greater, for something sacred, for something that only the chosen ones are trusted with. Stay patient. Stay in sujood. Your story isn't over. It's just hidden for now.